Hello? Who's this young girl here? This is the book of the portraits of artists and friends. Do you remember that exhibition?
Yes.
Artists and Friends. And here we are. And look at those robes.
It could be an abstract.
It could be, absolutely. It could be an abstract. Cut his head off. Has happened to judges in the past. Cut his head off and just make it a beautiful abstract of crimson and Asia. The colour, the beauty. And there is an aspect of abstraction, isn't there? Your portraits are not photographs.
No.
No. They're sort of semi-abstract and yet very recognisable.
I tell you why.
Why?
Because when they are half finished,
Yes.
I turn them upside down.
Oh, I never knew you were turning me upside down.
Secret.
Did you have upside down in your brain when you were painting? Could you imagine it in your brain?
No, I can't.
Well,
I
why did you
couldn't.
turn me upside down then?
I turn every picture upside down.
Why?
Because only then can one really be free to make it a picture.
And this must be something in artists, that they see something and it really inspires them. Did you find that too, that some item of clothing or some feature of the person would start you and get you started?
No, I don't think so. It's the eyes.
Getting a likeness is a special gift.
Yes, I think so. Because I could do it in my teens.
And some people don't really get a good likeness, whereas yours were enough of the Impressionists, but still it was a recognisable person.
Yes.
Do you think that's important in a portrait?
Of course. Most important.
You don't think it can be sort of an illusion of the person and not a real likeness?
No, then it's not a portrait.
Yes.
It's a study.
But there we are, that's the portrait. I was ever so much younger in those years.
So was I.
Oh, no. No, you look exactly the same. What do you think's the best thing about the portrait?
About this portrait? Well, I can't say the head, because that's always
The centrepiece.
the centerpiece.
Yes.
But I think if I turn it upside down,
Now, this is very eccentric of you, Judith, to turn me upside down and to judge me how I look when I'm upside down.
it's not you.
Some
it's the
people
picture.
said that in the High Court I was sometimes a bit upside down, but I thought they were upside down. Do you think artists and composers have an extra genetic talent? They've got something that is just part of their makeup.
Of course.
And
One is born with it.
you're convinced that you're born with it?
Of course.
Yes.
I could do a portrait when I was very young.
There's a lovely portrait of your grandmother, I think, and a beautiful portrait of yourself when you were young. A very lovely portrait. It shows the gifts that you already had as a very young person.
Yes, I had it almost as a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you feel that it developed a lot in your life, or do you feel it was just an expression of the gift that you were born with?
I think it developed. It had to.
Do you think teachers can teach pupils to develop in the way in which they perform their work as artists and portraitists?
As artists, yes. As portraitists, no. That's a special gift.
And it's special because of getting a likeness.
Yeah. And I was born with it.
Yes. Do
You
you feel...
can't teach it.
I'm sorry?
One can't teach it.
People you painted love you and appreciate you and are honoured to be painted by you. And the paintings will be lasting when they are long gone, because they're immortal, they're beautiful. So I'm very grateful. It's quite an experience playing ping pong with Judy Kassab. The appointment is made, it's a sunny day, a bunch of bright flowers brightens up the distinguished artist's greeting. You know at once that you're in the presence of a large spirit, but it is a spirit tamed by years of artistic discipline and by an upbringing in the courtly courtesies of Central Europe. Without too much ado, Judy Kassab gets to the serious point, the composition of the portrait. The special relationship between the artist and the subject commences. The idea has to be projected. You get the impression that long before you arrive, this highly professional artist has given a great deal of thought to the concept of the work. It is already formulating in her brain and in her spirit, but the canvas is yet blank, utterly blank. Lou wants me to be painted in an open-necked shirt, I say plaintively. A dark plot of artist and subject is already hatching. By telephone, I've foreshadowed that I bring some robes. No problem there. Robes are always among the little pleasures of a lawyer and a judge. At the very mention of robes of bright crimson, Judy's interest is at once engaged. Well, bring them then. We may outvote him, she says. I know immediately that an open-neck portrait will have to wait till another time. The sight of all that crimson and silk would do the trick. What I lacked in personality and visage, the robe would more than compensate for, dazzling the observer with uniquely reproduced silk of crimson, so soft and shimmering that you can almost touch it. I laid my offerings before the artist. First, the austere black robes of the High Court of Australia. This American invention of Republican modesty was immediately cast to one side. Judy's nimble fingers fell upon the other offerings, the crimson robes edged in fur, supposed to be ermine, but actually it's rabbit. These were of my old days as President of the Court of Appeal. But that's the past, she moves on. The light crimson silk of the Court of Criminal Appeal, also the past. She tarries over the silken grey hood worn by that relic of judges linked to the medieval bishops of England. The blood of the executed prisoners, the critics used to say, was the colour of the robes of the judges of criminal justice. This is it, she exclaimed, picking up my doctoral robe. Judy Kassab had found her setting. Honorary Doctor of Laws, delicate pastel blue, softening the brilliant red. Not so overwhelming as the judicial scarlet. Perhaps this moderation will even satisfy Lou Klepak. This will just be as informal as we get. We'll simply overrule him. This is a democracy of three, exclaimed Judy. Now there'd be no turning back. Doctoral robes it was to be, and so with swift efficiency the serious business of the portrait began. I was placed in a chair. Not too close, she explained, but not too far away. And then to work on a blank canvas. Her Rolls Royce, as she called it, springs into life, the machine that lifts and lowers the canvas mechanically. A little more noisy than the Rolls Royce, I thought. But a deep breath and a sigh from Judy, and we were at work. I sat there looking at the artist, she with her brushes and paints, staring intently at her subject and darting back and forth to the canvas. I felt a need to keep silence during the awesome work of converting the outward semblance of a human face to strokes of oil and colour. But in no way would Judy Kassab have this. Other artists might want it so, but Judy explained, "Your personality exists at the end of my brush. Every word you say comes through my ears and through my mind, down to my hands and onto the tip of my brush." "I cannot explain how it happens," she said, "but this is just how it is with me." We talked of art and creativity, of music and the world of the spirit. I told her of another Middle European, Gustav Mahler, and how he once tried to explain his creative spark. For him, it was something external to himself. It was not something that he could fully articulate or rationalize. For him, it was as if some external force was moving his hand as he put the immortal notes on paper. That is also how it is with Judy Kassab. The same seemingly external force directing the hand to convert the blank canvas into a sea of colour and vivid impressions. My eye wandered to a drawing of a remarkably beautiful woman, Judy Kassab's grandmother, sailing into my field of vision. Above her grandmother appeared a sketch of a teacher, the artist Herman, from faraway Budapest, in another age. My eyes darted from easel to artist, from palette to the assembled paints. On and on we talked as she worked with energy and fierce concentration. The experience of being a subject for Judy Kassab, Officer of the Order of Australia, Commander of the Order of the British Empire, is one to be cherished. There are certain rules which are to be faithfully observed by the subject. The subject must talk. Laughter must lighten any solemn hints of immortality on canvas. The light must fall on the subject's face from the same angle and at the same angle on recurring days. An hour of solid work passes, and there is then the ceremony of morning tea. Exquisite cups and exotic cakes and biscuits refresh the artist as she turns away from her labours. The subject joins in. The subject isn't allowed the slightest peep at this stage, not until the last stroke of the first day is concluded on the second part of the sitting. Often at this stage, Judy Kassab invites the scrutiny of her sternest critic, her husband Janshi. There is an anxious look as she awaits his approval or suggestions. This done, and encouraging words uttered, it's back to work. The interval of the concert of paint is concluded. Now Judy's glasses are adjusted, the intelligent stare is resumed, and we're back to talking and painting with renewed vigour. After another hour is up, Judy Kassab glances at her watch. It's as if some automatic chronometer rings an alarm in her head. The session is over for the day. At the end of the first session, one can see the outline of the composition and a mottled face already showing the bone structure and the angles dimly recalled by the subject from the morning shaving mirror. In the second session, Judy begins her ping-pong. Backwards and forwards she darts, rough estimates of size and proportion are taken. She laughs about a Molnar cartoon reproduced on the studio wall. This shows her with brushes rampant as she is in mid-flight. The game of artistic ping-pong is an extraordinary manoeuvre to watch, yet by this game, the broad outline of the face and the hands of the subject takes on a recognisable form, as if by magic. In this way, the attempt to transmit human appearance and personality comes to life through the skills of a considerable painter. The recurring sessions stamp a form and order on the encounters, and when they are up, it leaves a void which the subject, and I suspect perhaps the artist, views with sadness. Judy Kassab talks with love and generosity about other artists and what she's learned from them. She combines formidable discipline with artistic flair that's hard to explain in mere words. For Judy Kassab, it's necessary to turn the work to the wall between sittings so that they can be attacked afresh with new energy and boundless enthusiasm. And she tells me, with seeming belief at the end, that the last strokes are added by God. What a joy it has been to know Judy Kassab as a friend. What a privilege it is to have been the subject of the artist.
Ha unja a zsidó a harcot, csinál egy éles hátraarcot, s ha bátorsága száll Linába, kivándorol Ausztráliába, paraszti módra köpve jót, trafikot kezd s konfekciót, csak egy a fontos ebbe kérem, hogy más tegyen, mit amit régen, trallallallá, trallallallá. Esőbe, sárba, télbe, nyárba, eljön a nép a mandlerájba, s örül a lét öröminek, a bridge-nek és a röminek. Kaszinó van, piké és póker, s hogy jön-e vagy nem jön a Joker, és hogyha nem megy a kanaszta, az estét a kutya elvitte, trallallallá, trallallallá. Az a nagy újság mostanába, hogy Jani ment Amerikába, mert a White House-ban arról volt szó, hogy Jerseyből lesz az új zászló. A Time külön tudósítója a kameráját oda tolja, s Kennedyről kérdezni kellett, ki az a blokk a Lansky mellett, trallallallá, trallallallá. Ez út után elment Rómába, pápához audienciára, hogy mondják a papok misén, ámen helyett, hogy Jenny Lane. De az az álhír, az a fáma, hogy Jerseyből csinálják máma a bíbornoki kalapot. Nélkülöz minden alapot, trallallallá, lallallallá.